Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're doing great. And so, I wanted to make a video talking about procrastination, the shift of our interests, and how most people are being controlled and they're not knowing about it. And I want to mention, sort of, if you ever notice, you might have an idea, you're inspired to do something, you have this great urge, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and you start doing it. You start maybe writing some notes, maybe writing a book, maybe you're working on a project. And within seconds or minutes, you find yourself back on your phone. Maybe you're surfing the net and just looking at some nice Facebook posts and Instagram and other things. And all of a sudden, this big project that you've had is not anymore. You want to do it, but you just find yourself doing complete opposite of what you wanted. And I think a lot of people are going through this thing where, all of a sudden they want to make a video, they want to write a blog or something, they want to take notes or write something down, maybe work out. And within seconds, our attention, our focus, our goals, and what we want to do shifts like that. And we're like, where did this urge or thought come from? I'm talking about this because I've sort of noticed this within myself. And I was wondering, how is it happening? Why is it happening and all? And procrastination for me is not that much of a thing. I didn't really notice it in my life, but at the same time, I was noticing that every single day I have more and more blockages. And specifically, I'm talking to people that have already seen my videos that know who I am and all. I'm doing sessions. I'm working with people, and I'm gonna look into your past lives, help you remember who you were in your past. Why are you here on Earth? Why are you dealing with so much issues? So many issues and all this stuff. And as I'm doing this sort of work, I noticed that every single day, little by little, my urge or wanting to do the sessions or simply doing the sessions became harder and harder. Specifically to sit down, to read the person's notes, to write everything down and then connect them, do the session, do some clearing and all the stuff. It became a job. Instead of something I like to do, instead of trying to help people, it became something that was how people get up in the morning and some have to go to school and some have to go to job or work. And some people hate it. Some people hate getting up and doing the thing. And for me, it started becoming a thing. I used to enjoy it and it was really fun. And all of a sudden, I sit down to work on a person. And, hey, I was thinking about a person before I went to bed or something, okay, gonna work on this person today, and this, there, and this, and I take notes and everything else, and everything's taken care of. But the moment I sit down to work on them, all of a sudden I feel this massive I don't want to do it, I can't. Or at the same time, life happens. Maybe I'm going to do your session, maybe I'm going to work on you, but all of a sudden I get a call. I have a present time problem. I need to go take care of my car, or there's something going on in the world, and a present time problem where people come in and they interrupt and other things happen. And the thing you wanted to do or you were gonna do all of a sudden becomes super hard. Some people want to connect. And no matter how hard you try to connect, it's just not happening. Maybe there's this big event that you've been planning for about a year or quite a long time, and the moment it's about to happen, all of a sudden, present time problem. You can't show up, or this thing just ain't gonna happen, and it triggers you. It's damn, this is the thing I wanted for quite a while. I've been working on it. My attention, my efforts went in, and it's just not happening. Why? And I was noticing the same thing within myself. I want to do sessions. I took notes. I'm reading your email or stuff like that, and all of a sudden I get pops or what's going on. I can already do a session for you and tell you all about it. And the moment I click record, something happens, and I need to take care of stuff, or I feel like I can't talk, or other things happen, and that was killing me because I want to do proper work. I want to help people, and all of a sudden everything became much harder. Noticing that, I had to take care of it. I had to take care of this problem and make sure I can give quality work for people so that they wouldn't just hey, I paid money, where's my stuff, you know I want to provide good stuff for people. And with that, I have to make sure that I'm in the best shape possible to give that to you. And so as I was exploring, I was looking into why am I having issues, and I had to do a session on myself, not at home. I had to be away from this place because I noticed that even this room, every time I leave this room, I go somewhere else and I'm all inspired, I'm all fired up. But I would like to make a separate video on this whole thing. But I was every time I leave my room, I'm all hyped up. I come here, it's meh, I don't feel the same way. And there's the whole thing about where we live and our surroundings being affected. But Again, like that's a separate video. So I was basically driving a car now. All right, I'm in the car, I'm like driving around town and stuff like that. And I'm doing the session. And what happened is, as I'm doing the session, I have to make sure like I keep my eyes open, like like I don't get a moment to sort of like relax and chill, because like like hey, as a traffic and everything else. And as I was doing the session, I was sort of scanning like, okay, who's messing with me? I know myself, but these thoughts, these urges, the things I'm getting, they're not original. They're not coming from me. Where's it coming from? And I'm looking for the source. And usually, like, okay, we have the usual bad guy list. So let's check Grace and Tall Grace and Small Grace and Reptilians and Dracos and others. And I'm scanning one by another and nothing. I'm just not getting leads. And then, like, as I'm driving and stuff, I'm like, okay, if what I'm looking for is the thing, I want to make sure I see some birds. And I was scanning and stuff. And all of a sudden, I have this like idea, like, okay, I've actually been doing a lot of sessions lately, and some of them have to do with me going against those galactic federations and other higher beings. But specifically, this time I was focusing on archangels and angels. I've made videos about Archangel Astral, exposing how he is there, and like a lot of angels, like like how the devil comes out charming, and like psychopaths as well, they come out charming and giving, and you feel like, oh, that's a nice person, like I feel good, and then they deceive you and fuck with you. Well, archangels and angels are the same way. Not everyone, but specifically, like some of them, let's just say, uh, they come in, they give you love and like, hey, well, we're gonna take care of you. We're gonna make sure you're safe. We're gonna make sure, like, you have smooth transitions and everything else. And they're like all giving and loving and caring, and you're like, oh, finally, someone who's good. Well, someone who's good, the way they look and what they're giving you doesn't mean that they're good within. And usually they just try to present that picture so that you would drop your guard down. Next thing you know, you were being smacked by them. So this thing happens a lot where people would say the physical body passes away, or they're exploring the multiverse, and these archangels come like us. They're gonna guide you, they're gonna give you love, they're gonna make sure you're safe, and next thing you know, you end up being trapped. I was making videos about that, exposing them, and you can sort of watch them later if you want to, or maybe you already seen them, doesn't matter. So exposing archangels and also working with people who have been messed with them and sort of like taking care of the problems, I noticed that I became more of a target because they cannot do what they used to do. The realms they used to trap people are not there anymore, and I am the enemy. And I'm like, okay, so like looking deeper into that, like, is I know that like archangels and angels, they're still sort of pawns. They're still not in like that much in the hierarchy. And I was looking for who's bigger, and I found them. I've found some creepy ass beings that are in control of archangels. And it's not like in control as um they took over archangels and angels and all of a sudden they own them and stuff like that. No, no, no. It's not like that. They're not taking over. They've been in control of them ever since the very beginning. And it's like we have a lot of angels, archangels proclaiming their name and how important they are and how giving and all. But it's just basically the way we have this big party telling our governments what to do and how to act. Like, we know so little about what's going on. And the bigger picture, who's really in control of it all? No one really knows. And so it's the same way, where archangels and angels were sort of like, no, like, they're kind of like, let's say, politicians or bigger people who are in the government, kind of like high up, but there's someone even higher above them. And even then, there's this whole hierarchy just keeps on going. Looking into this whole thing, I found this being. And I was like really amazed that online I found photos or like people that did some art and they resemble the beings perfectly. And I'm like, damn, someone else has already seen it and they might not realize it. They might feel like it's just them drawing and creating stuff, but they've seen it. And I just wanted to share that stuff with you. So here it is. This freaking creature, it's amazing because what I saw is exactly this thing. I sort of have a combination so that you could sort of get an idea. But this head, this massive head of a being, kind of humanoidish face and the kind of like that Egyptian shin, you might see some in some arts and stuff. And this creature, man, this is the thing I saw. And like the head is more like roundish. It's not necessarily that's kind of like skull and all, but like let's say comparison to this being kind of like roundish, the head, and then just take it kind of like longer, rounder, and just creepy ass motherfucker. And this thing, like they also had these like long fingers like that. So it's like creepy as fuck, you know? So I just sort of like saw this being, right? And I was looking into who is this guy? Why are they messing with us and all that? And one thing I saw, like as I was sort of looking into the details of how they're messing was the whole system and stuff, I saw that they're the ones sort of masters of fake perception. And people who have the problems with procrastination, or all of a sudden you have a goal and you're going to do something, and in seconds you find yourself doing something else. Like, hey, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do this, and within seconds something else happens, and you get all of a sudden massively interested in something else. You wanted to work out, and now you're looking at the food to make. You want to make a video, and all of a sudden you're like sort of like playing games and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that can happen, but this whole thing of like changed perception, it's not just within your field. It's people that are around you as well. People that want to talk to you, people that want to connect to you. And all of a sudden, someone you had a good relationship with becomes sort of controlled. They might not notice it, but the whole perception of a person shifts. And all of a sudden, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings are being implanted. They're fake. And all of a sudden, the person that was close to you says some snappy shit that triggers you, and they might talk to you in a way that will sort of mess you up. They might do things in the environment that will sort of like trigger you and all this stuff. But there's always a sort of like third party looking at, okay, what's this being all about, and how can we stop them? And sometimes they were using the angels and archangels to come and mess with people in a way where they come all kind and loving and giving, but eventually these guys will take people and try to trap them, try to misguide them, try to misinform them, and they come in as all loving, but ends up with people being like suffering. Like, like, oh well, Archangel is helping me, but you're still suffering, you're still in pain, and you're being guided. And people then turn into, oh well, we have to grow with pain and we have to suffer in order to learn. And it's all crap. It's all fake information trying to limit you, trying to make you feel like, oh, it's okay to suffer, it's fine. And it's all crap. It's all lies to trap you, because you are a freaking powerful being. And sort of seeing this whole thing, these beings are masters of like controlled perception, and they don't want us getting better. Like, if I was to do the session and connect to you, and I might find some creepy ass stuff. I might find like who you were in the past life, and that might give information like, oh, that's what I am. And you can relate to that information, and all of a sudden you know what to do, like like your purpose, your goals in life, and other things. And at the same time, some people are like, hey, if I get out of body, or if I do this thing being whether you choose to sing, to dance, to make a video, to make a call, to talk to a person, anything you choose to do, that one action might be the key to changing your life, might be the key to you being happy, to you finding your new passions, to making new connections. And there are tons of things that can happen. If you just choose to work out and really do it, that's awesome. But all of a sudden we get tons of these distractions, and like you were interested in one thing, and all of a sudden smooth transition, and you are doing completely the opposite of what you planned. Like, like, hey, I'm ready to do my work, and you find yourself going, getting coffee, making phone calls, eating chocolate or other things, and all of a sudden like, hey, I was planning to do my work or something, but 5 hours pass and I'm not in the mood anymore. I'm gonna go eat now. And people just like carry over and lose that sort of stuff. So the whole transition with people, for example, you might be in love and there's two people connecting, right? And you're like, hey, I'm going to call this person, I'm going to connect. And the moment you're writing the message or picking up like a phone to call them, is the person is going to be affected by the third party, and all of a sudden they get controlled, and they, oh, I've got to go do something, and they leave their phone and they go away and do something else. And you find yourself really trying to connect to others, to make connection, to talk to people, and it just becomes impossible. You might try to, hey, I'm gonna make this thing, I'm gonna work on the project and stuff like that, and you lose it. So I wanted to share this whole thing because for me, I had this massive win when finding these beings and getting rid of them from my own space, making sure they can't affect me anymore. I just noticed, like, yesterday I had issues. Today I feel like a completely new person who's like, damn, work, 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 do. And I'm like so happy about how productive I am and what I'm doing and how I'm freaking focused. Like right now, like I'm working on stuff, and the moment I feel this urge coming up, like, hey, I have a project, but all of a sudden I feel the urge to do something else. I'm like, no, that's like freaking control. I know who's doing that now. And just focusing on them, they're like, whoa, we've been noticed, like, damn. And they have to wait and they have to sort of like think about what they're gonna do next. And this whole thing like becomes like a game. So I wanted to bring this to your attention because if some of you have problems with procrastination or feeling like, like, hey, you have interest, you have something to do, you want to do something, where it is calling a person, working on a project, singing, dancing, starting a blog or whatever, all of a sudden there's this third party messing you up. But it's not like really harsh. It's simply smooth transition of your attention. You had this interest and now you're doing this thing and you're completely engaged. You're sort of like drowning in like how much you are enjoying that thing. And you're like, oh, damn, a few hours ago, I was like actually going to do this thing. And when you recall, it's like, but I'm not feeling it anymore. So like trying to destroy all of our focus or passion or like the idea when you have the urge and you're feeling it, like you're in the zone to do something, and you're gone and that thing is no longer there. So I know that like removing this thing from my own space helped, and I'm just going to share this again. If you think that you have procrastination or you're being moved, think about these beings, sort of focus on them. These guys are in control of perception. Their name is Muroang, or if I'm saying it right, basically the way it is spelled is Muroang. So these guys have the whole race. It's clusters, it's a lot of beings. They are in control of archangels and angels. They own them and they use them as puppets. So the same way military or like let's say a cop can have the canine dog and like, okay, get ready, go, bite. So basically the same guys will be like using archangels to get them into our space and we're feeling all loved and cared for. And next thing you know, they mess with us. So knowing this thing, I would encourage you to, if you're feeling like this is happening to you, think of them and think about removing them from your space. Not just the being, but also the environment. And I will like talk about like more of the environment thing in the next video. But I noticed like I started winning a lot. And simply one of the things, if you are feeling like, okay, like visualizing and destroying and stuff like that is kind of hard, try tracking your thoughts. The moment you're gonna do something, you might have the passion or like like interest, like you're gonna either make a video or write someone or simply start a project on something. You have this urge, you start doing it, and then you're like, oh wow, I want to check this thing out. I want to go and talk to this person, or I'm gonna go pee and then go back and do this thing. Well, I would say try to be in control of yourself and try to like if you were feeling it and if you're gonna work on something, try doing it and like I'm gonna do this thing first and then check it out, because it is so easy for us to like, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna call a person or I'm gonna work on this project and stuff, and within seconds you find yourself either on your phone or somewhere on Facebook or some other websites just like looking for information. And the thing is that what these parties are doing is that they're giving us things that we're interested in. We're like all of a sudden we feel interest in something else and we go with it. And the project that could have changed a lot of things is now being on hold. So it's important to sort of pay attention to, you're going to do something. And when you have another urge, like, this project, if you do this, if you made the call, if you write to this person, if you write that blog, if you start singing and dancing or doing anything else that was sort of important to you at the moment, if you choose this above, oh, I feel the interest in doing something else, it's good to be in control and not allow yourself to actually go sideways, because once you're done with the project, it's life changing. But it's so easy to go and do something fun for a while, and then it's so hard getting back to the main activity because you lost the zone, you're not feeling it anymore, and you're going to be distracted and other things like that. So if you can, pay attention to what thoughts you're getting, how are you feeling, and what you're doing in the moment, and sort of just becoming aware of what's going on in your space and having the interest and how it shifts. It's important to be aware of it because it is so easy to control as humans, because we're just like, oh, and we get so interested and we're all engaged, but all of a sudden we lose the real track of something that was really good and empowering and stuff. So that being said, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because when it's like doing this for myself, actually I feel like a new person. I feel like, damn, I'm freaking productive and I love this stuff. Like I'm feeling really good today. And yesterday I was like, doing a session was kind of hard. Today, it's really fun and engaging. And I feel this massive difference in how I am and the way like I'm focused and stuff, it's working for me. And if any one of you is having such a problem, just, like either thinking of removing those beings, visualizing, or simply, like doing it with your thoughts, or simply being aware of your own attention and what you're doing with it, it's really helpful. So that being said, thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was helpful in any possible way, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. So you have a nice day, enjoy yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.